Awkward silence.
What is up, y'all? Episode 4 of Hot Takes and Pump Fakes. I'm your host, John Garey, back with David Prince, Kelvin Jones, Ryan Brewer, James Garey, Evan Pruett, Coach P. Let's talk conference championship weekend, fellas. There's a couple upsets. Definitely some movement in the playoffs, which we'll get to later. Coach P, we'll start off with you. Troy with the big win.
Hey,
How we feeling?
we took care of business like I said we would. Sent old Jamie down to where's he going? I don't care.
Liberty.
He took
Liberty, Lynchburg, Virginia.
Oh yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Go on to Liberty with the L. See, look, he's got an L to match the name of the Liberty. That's all I got to say. Grayson McFraud showed up, showed us who it really was. I got to give him a shout out for those 2 turnovers. That interception, that forced fumble. He had 2 fumbles. One of them they recovered, but it was still big because it was like a 10-yard loss. So yeah, I mean, Gunnar Watson balled out, 12 for 17, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's pretty efficient to say it. Yeah, I mean, that's it as far as that. We finally got ranked. Can't be happier about that. Something else about the conference championships I saw this week. Big game Lincoln Riley. He showed up. Couldn't really. I expected him to break the curse. He didn't. He's still same old Lincoln Riley. So, yeah, I mean, TCU, Kansas State, also a fun game to watch. Little bit of an upset there. I called that one, but it's still there for a minute. Looked like TCU might have had it. But props to them for at least bringing it back to overtime.
Yeah, unfortunately, my Chanticleers went down to Troy, Alabama, and got smacked down. Me and my boy Shoe ain't feeling too good about it, but it happens. Brewman, you weren't here last week. You were watching South Carolina women's basketball, but you're back. So what'd you see this past weekend in college football world?
Yeah, John. I mean, like I said, I didn't get to watch much of the ACC championship game. I had another thing I had to do that night. But John, congrats on the upset. How about a round of applause for Clemson? Pulling off the upset against the Tar Heels. Bounced back from a tough loss against the Gamecocks of University of South Carolina. Bounced back. Klubnik came in there and did what he had to do. Things happened. Obviously, didn't get to watch much of that game. But yeah, congrats, John. I'm really happy for y'all. Way to bounce back. TCU. Coach P said it best. That TCU Kansas State. That was a great game. Man, Max Duggan. He gained all of my respect, and the dude could barely walk. He was so gassed in that game. Throwing it, running it, doing whatever he could to keep his team in there. He gained a lot of my respect. He's a great player. I think they're going to run into a buzzsaw with Michigan. I don't think TCU's going to be able to have much for them. But you got to respect the fight of Kansas State there. Georgia LSU didn't get to watch much of that one either. I'm not going to spoil. I'm going to let Kelvin talk about that a little bit more because he's the expert. But the Dogs look pretty much untouchable again. I think it's theirs to lose. That's my reaction. So.
All right, we'll go to another. I would like to call it a big time win, but we all knew it was going to win. Let's go to Kelvin over here for his Georgia Bulldogs. Maybe something else he saw too.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia pretty much handled business like usual. Defense was a little shaky, but I think they'll get that cleaned up. I think it was more of Georgia was up big at halftime. Well, I think it was 35-10, so they kind of just played lax and. But it can't do that against Ohio State and their plethora receivers and CJ Stroud. But again, I mean, people always want to think about Georgia's defense. Look at Georgia's offense, man. Like Stetson Bennett played out of his mind. And I saw a stat where against top 25 opponents, Stetson Bennett has like the most yards and the most touchdowns of any of the top tier quarterbacks out of anybody in the country. Like, dude, when there's a number beside the opponent, he's going to ball out for sure. So, Yeah, like Brian said, I think it's Georgia's to lose as long as they don't make any mistakes or nobody gets hurt. Nobody gets hurt. Georgia should win. But my biggest reaction was, I mean, look, I called it. Utah was going to beat USC. USC's defense is absolute garbage. Lincoln Riley needs to get rid of his friend Alex Grinch because USC can't tackle. They can't cover. They're weak. And like USC better be glad they did not win that game because if they would have played Georgia, it would have been absolute domination.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't have been fair. So yeah, shout out to Utah. USC needs to look in the mirror, maybe tackle in practice sometimes, and they need to figure out something because offense is fine, but I mean, you can't play a lick of defense, it won't matter.
Yeah, I feel like for y'all, I feel like y'all kind of game plan more for Daniels to play in that game. So when Nussmeier came in the second half, I feel like y'all were kind of flat-footed, didn't really know what to expect from him. That's why you saw that couple big-time throws that he made. But yeah, I mean, Southern Cal definitely surprised me. I thought they were going to win. Not big or anything like that because, they're kind of overrated, but I didn't think Utah had it in them. I've been a Utah hater all year, still am. I don't think they're that good, but, they definitely, Cameron Rising and the Utes definitely showed up and showed out. Davo.
USC, what happened? Doesn't look good for Caleb Williams and his Heisman candidate resume, obviously. I want to give a big shout out to Toledo, for winning the MAC championship. And shout out UTSA too. They're right there behind Troy in the top 25. Thank God Troy and UTSA are finally ranked. To say the least.
James?
Yeah, let's talk about a couple things here, fellas. It was a bad night for the Gamecock fans. David, me, Ryan, Gene Bell officially in the portal. He's going to go to Colorado or Florida State, one or the other. But it's not really what I want to talk about right now. I know people are like talking about how great TCU is, but why are we not talking about how great Kansas State is? They walked into Dallas, Texas, and beat them fair and square. They beat them. Deuce Vaughn absolutely ran over the TCU defense. He had 26 carries at 130 yards. I mean, he's 5'6", and he just destroyed this team. Let's give a little shout out though to the backup quarterback too. There, I mean, he had a pretty decent game. He had some good numbers, and Daniel Green, a guy who hasn't really showed up for Kansas State on the defense, only 30 tackles coming in this game or something. He finished with a big game, 10 tackles, and a lot of QB rushes. Another thing I want to talk about, shout out to Toledo, man. I said the game plan for them was to keep that ball out there. They kept it out there. Ohio only scored 7 points against them in the MACtion championship. So shout out to Toledo.
Yeah, sad day for the Ohio Bobcats. The real Athens down there. I guess the fans didn't pull through down there in Ford Field in Detroit. Let's talk about the big one. Clemson's got the quarterback of the future. I told y'all.
Oh, man.
I told y'all several times.
Here we go.
We gotta start game plan prepping for our quarterback of the future, which is Klubnik. I know a lot of y'all may have thought that DJ was going to play the whole game. I figured he might get 1 or 2 drives, and if it's bad, he's going out, and that's exactly what happened. Klubnik came in, stood up like a champ. However, Mac Brown after the game said they did not game plan or prep for Klubnik at all. So I'm not going to get too overhyped yet or nothing like that. We got to play Tennessee in the Orange Bowl December 30th. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Shout out, I thought TCU. We'll talk about this later, but TCU always has these kind of games down to the wire against good opponents like Kansas State. They weren't able to pull it off, which was kind of surprising to me. I thought they were going to be able to do the damn thing. But, they're in the playoffs, so does it really matter? No. Probably would have been ranked the same place either way. So, yeah, let's move on to the rankings that released this Sunday. I'm going to go down the list, and we'll just go through and kind of talk about anything that surprised us or anything like that. So 25 is UTSA. 24 is Troy. Shout out Coach P. 23 is the NC State Wolfpack.
Not
22
deserved.
is Mississippi State. 21 is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish going up against South Carolina in the Gator Bowl. 20 is Texas. 19 is the Scar Gamecocks. 18 is UCLA. 17 is LSU. 16 Tulane. 15 Oregon. 14 Oregon State. 13 the Florida State Seminoles. 12 Michael Penix and the Washington Huskies. 11 Penn State. 10 Southern California. 9 Kansas State. 8 Utah. 7 Clemson. 6 Tennessee. 5 Alabama. 4 Ohio State. 3 TCU. 2 Michigan, and number 1 team in the country, the Georgia Bulldogs. So, Brewman, anything that's surprising you, or something standing out in these rankings or anything like that?
Yeah, man. How about frickin' Oregon State? 9-3. Corvallis, Oregon, whatever the heck they are. They haven't. I don't even know if they've been ranked, and I don't know when they've been ranked. They came out of freaking nowhere. I still couldn't name you one player on their team. I don't know who their head coach is. I don't know anything about them. I just know they're a historically bad football program. So good for them, man. Good for them being 9-3. What is that? 13th, 14th in the nation. That's pretty cool. Then shout out to the South Carolina Gamecocks, hottest team in football right now. We're a program on the rise. Don't let the Cox get hot. Don't let Spencer Rattler get that confidence in them. It's going to be a long, long, long day for Notre Dame on December 30th. Long day.
Yeah, but my thing with Oregon State is if they're like so good, then why are they playing in the Las Vegas Bowl against Florida, who's 6-6?
Sure.
I'm not sure why they got paired up in that matchup. But it just goes to show how stacked the Pac-12 was this year. They were so top-heavy. And if Oregon State's 14, they're playing the Las Vegas Bowl against an unranked Florida with no Anthony Richardson, no backup quarterback. I mean, I don't understand that. So,
sure.
Coach P.
I think 1 to 25. I think those are probably the 25 teams that deserve to be in there. You can make an argument for one, maybe replacing like NC State. I don't think Mississippi State is that good either. But, I mean, you can make an argument for a couple of teams replacing those guys. But for the most part, 1 through 25 is pretty solid. Pretty happy with the group of 5 this year. I mean, we got Tulane at 16, Troy 24, UTSA 25. I mean, that's pretty good. I think it may be a little low for a couple of those schools like Troy and UTSA, considering who a couple of the schools above them are. I definitely think the matchups might be favored towards those smaller schools against a couple of them, like the NC States and Mississippi States. However, top 4 doesn't surprise me at all. They shouldn't surprise anybody at all. I will say TCU and their ability to bring that game back to overtime might have been their saving grace. I think if they had let that game slip away, if they had lost in a blowout, then they might have slipped up and fallen down to 5. But happy for the guys. I'm excited to see, some playoffs that don't contain Georgia, Alabama, and Clemson. I'll like to see a little bit of a mix up there with Michigan and TCU. However, TCU going to be gone within the first 60 minutes. But yeah, that's really all I got to say.
Yeah. Kelvin?
Yeah, I got a problem. Why is Troy ranked at 20? I'm just messing with you, Coach. Honestly, like I don't have any problem with these rankings. I guess the only problem I would have is if somehow like TCU did fall out the playoffs, that means Alabama would have been in it. And to be honest, I don't think so. I think if anything, it should have been Tennessee probably because, I mean, beat them head to head. I know Tennessee had the worst loss, but, I mean, they beat them on the field and then also beat the team the other team that beat Alabama 40-13 at LSU.
Yeah, but
So,
they would.
Dang. Holy smokes, boy. The ball's getting buzzed over here. God.
Whoa, I say something so.
What? Blink
I
twice.
don't even remember what I was going to say, man.
Hey, I thought somebody was coming in my door right there, fellas. I thought it was over for me. Holy smokes.
Coach P, you got your thoughts now?
Maybe. I was going to say something along the lines of I don't know if they would have put Tennessee in that top 4 without Hendon Hooker. Just because that Hendon Hooker is the difference between that team being top 10 and hardly top 20, in my opinion. He's just
got a point. And also, this is just John. I'm sorry, I got to get on your team, but man, Clemson blew it, man. They absolutely blew it. You guys, I think you guys would have been in the playoffs if something didn't happen on what was it?
You can say what it was, Kelvin. What happened? I was curious.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, started Klubnik after the Syracuse game. Things would be looking a lot different right now, but
yeah, but hey, I mean, you don't make playoffs every year. You live and you learn. So, yeah. Other than that, I don't have a problem. I think we're pretty good.
I mean, y'all talking about Alabama, man. It sucks for the 2 best players in the country, Bryce Young and Will Anderson, that they can't go out with a ring. But I mean, that's just, you can't put a 2-loss team in there. I mean, they weren't deserving of it, but I mean, it sucks for Bryce Young, who pretty much carried that offense, and Will Anderson. I mean, he had a quiet year, but he still had like 14 sacks. So I mean, they're probably gonna be 1 and 2 in the draft. So I mean, it just sucks for them.
Yeah.
I think the thing about that is, I know Alabama has 2 losses and you can't put them in, but if the college football playoff is the 4 best teams, I don't know if you can't tell me right now if Alabama is not one of the top 4 teams in the country.
They are.
Alabama would beat TCU.
Exactly.
Alabama would beat Ohio State.
I agree.
Alabama would beat Michigan.
Yeah, Alabama would beat everybody except for Georgia, and they could still maybe give Georgia a run if they kept the penalties in check.
But guys, can we say that with complete confidence?
It's like the same thing with Clemson too.
Yes, I can say it with complete confidence because they have Bryce Young as their quarterback.
But this is the same team that had to beat Texas A&M on the last play of the game. It had to beat a Texas team on the last play of the game too. TCU handled Texas. TCU handled Texas though. And
it's early in the year.
I mean, does it really matter? I mean,
Oh, it matters.
It matters because let's say we put Clemson in the playoffs, it'd be a very different outcome for the Tigers now versus Syracuse game.
But Alabama just hasn't looked. Are we just looking at Alabama's name, or are we looking at like what they actually did? Because Alabama pretty much struggled from the Arkansas game to the Ole Miss game. In every single game, they struggled. They never really impressed or like straight up dominated. I mean, the only team they really dominated in that span was Mississippi State. Yeah, they beat them 30-6. Arkansas, that was a game until the 4th quarter. A&M last play of the game. Tennessee lost. They beat Mississippi State 30-6. LSU lost, and Ole Miss came down to the last drive of the game. So it's like, I mean, they're good, but like, I don't think Alabama will beat Michigan this year.
Kelvin, but you're forgetting a very, very, very key and important piece.
I'm listening.
Who is Alabama's head football coach?
Nicholas Saban.
Yeah, Nick Saban.
Okay. So that's supposed to mean.
What do you mean that's what it's supposed to mean? He's the greatest football coach of all time.
I mean, but yeah, if his
he's
team
not
isn't good,
just
though, I mean, his team isn't good.
Rolled over.
I mean, we can't say that. We've seen him get rolled over by your Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, that's because we had Trevor Lawrence at quarterback.
And I think Georgia would probably roll Alabama this year. Michigan would probably roll them.
Blake Corum's out.
Anyways,
I mean, Donovan Edwards is just as good as him. I mean, I can't say with complete confidence that Alabama would on a neutral field would beat Ohio State, maybe TCU. They obviously couldn't beat Tennessee. I mean, I don't know, man. This Alabama team this was probably the least impressive Alabama team since 2010 after they won the national championship against Texas. I think they lost 3 games that year.
I agree.
You know what?
Lost South Carolina.
You know what one of my main problems with Alabama is, though? For one, they're not as disciplined as we're used to seeing.
Mm-hmm.
2, you have Bill O'Brien as your offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll change here.
Their offensive line is shaky. Their receivers aren't great. Like, this Alabama team is missing a lot of people.
Here's
Missing
the
a lot of things.
If you still have Bill O'Brien as your offensive coordinator next year and without Bryce Young, Alabama might lose 4 games.
No, they won't. They'll have Drake May.
But still, the drop off between Drake May and Bryce Young is pretty adamant or pretty apparent.
I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's that.
It's not. I don't mean like that. Not crazy. We're going from best quarterback in the country to barely top 50. That's not what I mean. I'm just saying.
I think everybody
you're going from number 1 draft pick to number 1 draft pick. You're right.
You think number 1?
Anyways, we're getting
that's
way
a top.
off.
I guess something that kind of surprises me is going on Troy is why do you have them at 24, but you have what is this? You have like 6 teams in front of them that didn't even sniff the conference championships that they were in.
South Carolina.
Did Troy beat 2 top 10 teams back to back?
Yeah, but this is why you got to bring back the computer.
You got to bring back the computer. I've been saying it too, John.
I'm tired of this voting nonsense. It's just like I didn't realize that college football was like a democracy.
And you can honestly tell after the top 6, they're just like, whatever, we don't care.
Yeah, they really don't care because you have Kansas State at 9. I think they should be a little higher than that, but obviously, I think after 9, it's kind of like just whatever. Because Washington should be ahead of Penn State.
Yep.
Florida State should be higher too, I think.
I don't know about FSU because
we saw how
it 2-loss team.
Yeah, we also saw how bad FSU's defense is against Florida.
Yeah.
And the love affair with 8-4 Mississippi State and NC State every single freaking year. It's just ridiculous. They're gonna finish 8, like Ryan said. Texas, and Mississippi State being 8-4.
Yeah, I think LSU. I mean, not LSU. I think UCLA should be behind South Carolina.
Yep.
I think South Carolina should be 18, or maybe LSU 17. So you can't put them above LSU.
I think Notre Dame should be above Texas.
Agreed. I think Texas.
Mm.
Wait, why is UNC should still be ranked? If we're going off of conference championships.
Beat NC State. That's why they're not ranked.
Yeah, but NC State's garbage.
Correct, but I mean that's why.
I know whoever voted.
That's why Oregon State's over Oregon. It's because Oregon State beat them.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, if we're looking at Texas, they probably never mind. They lost to Oklahoma State. I mean, they lost to Alabama and TCU, so their losses aren't too bad.
Texas Tech.
Yeah, Texas. Notre Dame lost to Marshall, who finished 3rd or 4th in the Sun Belt East. And
Stephen Gilmore, man.
Yeah,
South Carolina
Notre Dame went on a roll.
Yeah, Notre Dame's losses were bad. Except for
they're
Ohio
terrible
State
start of the year, but then for some reason they went on a stretch where they just dominated every single person they played on the football field, including Clemson Tigers. That was just a travesty to watch. Could not move the ball. But anyway, Heisman. 4 finalists, 4 quarterbacks. Max Duggan, C.J. Stroud, Stetson Bennett, Caleb Williams. To be honest with y'all, I really don't know who's going to win. I have no idea. My pick is the guy that I want to win, That's the mailman.
Oh,
I just like the
brother.
mailman. I like Stetson, even though he's old as crap. I like him. Best. I mean, Georgia's clearly the best team. He balls out against every good team he plays against. And he's cocky as hell. Love it. Loving to see that quarterback. So yeah. What are y'all thought? Who are we thinking, fellas? We'll swing it to James first.
I mean, I think I'm just gonna go with my original pick here because I'm in the same boat. I think I'm gonna go Caleb Williams. But like, are stats irrelevant now for the Heisman? Because if that's the case, then Bryce Young and Hendon Hooker should be in this over a couple of other guys, aka the number 13 for the Scarlet, Red, and Black. But I don't want to talk about that really. I don't want to dive too deep into it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go Caleb Williams. And yeah, he had a bad Pac-12 game, but I mean, still, I mean, you take Caleb Williams off the Trojans, and they're 5-7, not even competing. They're probably losing to some scrub like Texas State or something. So,
Davo.
I'm gonna take the mailman as well. Whenever it comes to the big time games, Stetson Bennett does not underperform. He always performs above and beyond expectations. And I just think that consistency and being able to just be consistent against those big time games is just
Burman.
Yes. I will start by saying I think it's an absolute travesty how Hendon Hooker is not a Heisman finalist. I mean, you're punishing the guy for tearing his ACL and missing a game against Vanderbilt. I think he was the best player in the country for 9-10 weeks out of the year. And now he's not even a Heisman finalist because he tore his ACL in the late third quarter of a game. They still had 200 and something passing yards in. I think that's messed up. I think Hendon Hooker still deserves to be a Heisman finalist.
Yeah.
But give me Stetson Bennett. Give me Stetson Bennett to win the Heisman. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it, but to me, it's turned into who's the best player on the best team, and that's who wins the Heisman Trophy.
He's not even top 5, bro. Georgia.
But by best player, I mean who
mean.
gets the most recognition, who's like the team lead,
storylines.
Change it to this: is the quarterback on the best team.
Right. Minus Devontae Smith, I agree.
Yeah.
That's my point. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, other than Lamar Jackson back in 2016, whatever year that was. I mean, that's what it's been. Best offensive player. I'd change it to best offensive player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My question is this though. This is a hypothetical. Kelvin, don't get mad when I say this. You take Stetson Bennett off the team, is Georgia still just as dominant?
No, for sure. Oh, I mean, yeah. Well, I don't know because the last time
they still a top 4
team
in the country.
Absolutely.
I feel like you have to put it like this. Who would you put in Stetson Bennett's spot? Like, would you put Spencer Rattler in there?
Let's go with Carson Beck. Just back up.
Oh yeah, Georgia would still be top 4.
Okay,
You
that's
can run
my point.
every play, and Georgia would still be top 4.
They need to make a clear definition of what the Heisman Award is, because at this point, it's not going. I don't. Do we even know what it stands for? Is it the most valuable player?
It's the best quarterback.
Is it turning into best quarterback on best team?
Yeah.
Because in my eyes, I think it should be most valuable player. And if that's the case, it's Caleb Williams by a long shot.
Yeah. A couple things that I forgot to add to your thing, James. We did see Stetson Bennett last year not play against Georgia's best, in-season opponent at the time against Clemson, and JT Daniels was starting quarterback.
And they still won.
Yeah, they won 7-3.
Just saying, still won.
And Mailman's blowing out people. I don't know what it is. Maybe the team likes more. Whatever. JT Daniels transferred. Also, I think Marvin Harrison and Blake Corum should have definitely – at least I think one of them should have gotten an invite to New York. Because without those two dudes on either one of those teams, they wouldn't be in the playoffs right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, other than that, Kelvin.
Yeah, I know everybody's picking Stetson. I mean, that's my guy, but I mean, I'm going Caleb Williams. I mean, I feel like he's like we said, the best quarterback in the country, the best offensive player in the country. I mean, Stetson has the story and stuff like that, but the stats really don't. And it's not his fault. But I mean, Stetson has, I think, about, let's see, he has 20 passing touchdowns and 7 rushing. So he has 27 total touchdowns. And Caleb Williams has 37 passing touchdowns with 10 rushing touchdowns. So Caleb Williams 47 touchdowns on the season. Like it
How
should.
many interceptions?
4.
4. Like that's just nuts.
Yeah.
That is nuts.
And Stetson has 6. So I think it should easily be Caleb Williams, but this is probably the most lackluster Heisman since Mark Ingram won it, maybe. I mean, it's just like I really don't even want to give it to anybody this year, to be honest, because I don't know, nobody. I mean, Caleb Williams' stats are amazing, but like Ryan said, Hendon Hooker's stats are almost identical. Drake May's stats are almost identical. Bryce Young's stats are almost identical. It's like, okay, I mean, Michael Penix Jr.'s stats are almost identical. Nobody stands out this year. It's like, I mean, if I had to give it somebody, it'd be Caleb Williams. So, I guess.
Coach B.
Yeah, so I'm going to agree with Ryan here as far as the Hendon Hooker thing. I fully believe he should be in the discussion. The fact that he's not because he tore his ACL before playing Vanderbilt, where he probably would have put up 400 passing yards easily, is a little crazy to me there. Max Duggan turned around TCU, but I just don't think he's done enough to get it. I mean, I think it's great that he's in the conversation, but he'll place 4th. CJ Stroud, it's tough. I think if he had beaten Michigan, he would be winning this, like 100%.
Oh, for sure.
Since he didn't, though, since they didn't make it to the conference championship, I got to give it to Caleb Williams. I mean, 37 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, almost 4,100 passing yards on the season. I think CJ places 2nd, and I think it's pretty close. And then I think Stetson finishes 3rd. But I will say if Stetson was as mobile as CJ Stroud and Caleb Williams, he would be getting it. I think. What's up?
I got a question for you for Duggan. Do you think if TCU didn't have as many close games as they did this season, he would have won?
I don't think he would have won just because of the name Caleb Williams and CJ Stroud and what they live up to. I think it would have been more of a conversation, though.
Got it.
I don't think Duggan has had any chance. I think if they even went undefeated, he wouldn't have won and blown out everybody. Now, if he acted the way Stetson Bennett does, he would absolutely win it. It wouldn't even be close, but he doesn't act like Stetson Bennett, which he probably should if he wants to win awards, because it's going to be really hard for him. But
however, I do want to say that dude is a gamer. Like,
he's good.
Sure.
You're
he's the ultimate team first quarterback in college football. I mean, he does it for the team. He does, like, I don't know if y'all saw the TCU watch party when they got announced. Everyone was jumping up and down, and he's just standing there, just like nodding his head, like he's ready to roll. So
dude, I'm sure he's ecstatic to be in the playoffs, but at the same time, he's pissed off that they're not 13-0.
Yeah.
Question: do y'all think he comes back, or does he? Because he is a senior, but I think he still has his COVID year.
Coming back.
He's 21 with one good year. He's coming back.
I think every senior or people that are draft eligible on that TCU team are going to be coming back because of what Sonny Dykes has brought to that program. I know this is a little off topic
Yeah.
from Heisman, but you're probably going to see them repeat. Don't be
Yeah.
surprised if you see them repeat as Big 12 champs. Or not Big 12 champs, but in the Big 12 championship again.
Yeah. JT Daniels still has 2 years left of college too, if he really wants to, which is
That's weird.
7 years in college. I mean, Stetson's almost at 7 years, but Jesus.
I mean, some people just like college. I don't know. They just got to get more of that college experience.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, let's switch
Brewer.
gears.
Oh,
Fellas.
whoa.
NFL. I'll start. The Rams are just done. I don't know. I don't know. There's not much to talk about. Taylor Rapp sold the game to the Seahawks. You know, he's covering air out there, and when he could have picked that ball off easily from Geno. The Vikings, 10-2. I thought they were kind of frauds, but when games gets tight, they band together like some brothers, and they win ball games. So it'll be exciting to see if they can do that in the playoffs. You know, they're pretty much locked in as of now. So yeah, Davo.
Talk about the Bengals and Chiefs matchup, AFC rematch from last year. You know what I'm saying? I in our prize pick'ems, it says 78% of people pick the Chiefs to win, and then 22% pick the Bengals. If you look right here, what does that say? You probably can't see. I see a green check mark beside the Bengals right there. You know what I'm saying? Joey Burrow owns Patrick Mahomes. It's 3-0 versus him. So I love that. I also want to talk about the Chargers, James. What the hell's going on? You know what I'm saying? You lost to the Raiders.
I'm gonna tell you what's going on.
6-6.
Not healthy. Not
yeah.
healthy. That's just.
It's, what else did I have written down? Give me 1 second, fellas. Browns at Watson did not impress me in improvement whatsoever, and also had the 49ers with a dominant victory over the Dolphins. That team's hot. That's what I had written down.
Yeah, James.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about Chargers. I mean, Herbert's doing all he can, man. I mean, I don't know if y'all been watching him in the fourth quarter, but he's been going nuts, and defense just ain't helping him out. Thanks, John. I appreciate that. But one thing I want to talk about, surprise player, not team, player, Jamal Williams. Fellas, he leads running backs and receivers and touchdowns. He's got 14 touchdowns. The Lions are red hot. You know how many more touchdowns Jamal Williams has than the Denver Broncos? 3. 3 more touchdowns, guys. Broncos didn't score a touchdown last weekend. Jamal Williams had 1. And it's not like he's going – they just give him the ball on the goal line, and he does his job. He's a perfect guy. But he's 8th in rush attempts this year, 13th in rushing yards, and 1st in touchdowns. And my question is, do they go away? Well, that's a later point. But another reaction I got, Tom Brady, man. I thought he was out for the count last night against the Saints. Comeback win. Fellas, here's an interesting stat they put on ESPN on the big graphic on Monday Night Football. That was his first comeback win in the regular season, down 13 or more.
He's also 3-0 since the divorce.
Are the Bucs back? That's my question. Are the Buccaneers back?
3-1. Yeah, you're right, Coach B.
Are the Buccaneers back?
No.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Their offense is still terrible.
Yes.
Yeah, but division is so sloppy. Like, I mean, it's not like they got to, be leaps and bounds above the competition in there, which sucks. It's a fun division to watch most weekends. No, it is. Y'all have some exciting games for the most part.
No.
Maybe not Falcons some nights, but that's okay. Kelvin.
Yeah, I'm just gonna piggyback off what James was saying. This is my hot take for the week. I think the Lions are going to make the playoffs. Like, they are – I mean, they're competitive in every single game. Dan Campbell's morale. So, right now, they're 2 spots out of the playoffs behind Washington. So, I'm just looking at Washington's schedule for the rest of the season. They have a bye this week. They play the Giants, San Francisco, Cleveland, and Dallas. They can lose all 4 of those games.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit has Minnesota, and they're actually favored against Minnesota this week, which is crazy. The Jets, Carolina, Chicago, and Green Bay. They can win all of those games. And then Seattle's in the last wild card spot, and they have Carolina, San Francisco, Kansas City, the Jets, and the Rams. So it'll be tough, but somehow, some way, I think the Lions get into the playoffs. Dan Campbell wins Coach of the Year. I mean, how can you not give it to him after that? And then my other take is the Bears. They really need to get Justin Fields some help, man. They're just wasting that poor guy. I mean, I know he didn't have a great game, but like come on. Like, nobody's helping him out. The defense is terrible. I mean, they let Christian Watson have a good game again, and the running game, besides, I mean, David Montgomery's averaging 4 yards a carry, which is okay, but I don't know. They just need to help him out, or I could see him trying to dip out maybe after next season, because they need a lot of help. And probably if they have the number 2 pick in the draft, they'll probably go defense or something like that. It won't help them out or anything like that.
Yeah, I can see that. Coach P?
Yeah, just every week is a new battle for me. I do want to say that last night might have been the first time I was ever happy to see Tom Brady win a game, and that's because we're 1 game closer to Desmond Ridder. And not so much excited for Ridder as I am getting rid of Mariota. However, I do want to say, if you want to compare Patrick Mahomes and say that he's the new Tom Brady, then Joe Burrow is the new Eli Manning.
The way to put it.
I don't know what it is, but Mahomes cannot beat Burrow. And it's just, I mean, it's unreal. Also, we saw this week just how bad the Broncos really are. And I'm sorry, Dave.
I know.
I'm so sorry, but y'all cannot lose when the Ravens are playing without Lamar. You can't lose. I mean, come on. Lamar is the Ravens offense. They don't really have anybody else right now. He's the main playmaker. I mean, it's kind of sad. And he's going to be out for the next 3 weeks or 3 weeks because of that PCL strain. But I don't know. It's just crazy. I think that's really all I had to say that I can think of.
Brewman.
I didn't watch. Golly, holy smokes, fellas! I didn't watch much NFL. I had some group projects to work on Sunday. I feel like this is something I say every weekend. I didn't watch much NFL. But to piggyback on James and Kelvin, the Lions, man, they're fun. They're a fun team. If I'm being honest, I would walk through a pack of wolves with beef jerky strapped to my waist for Dan Campbell, man. I swear that I would do a lot. I would run through a brick wall for that guy. He's got those guys playing for him, which is pretty cool to see. So watch out for the Lions. Falcons, man. I mean, NFC South continues to prove to be the worst division in football. I mean, 6-6 the Bucks, 5-8 the Falcons, 4-8 the Panthers, 4-9 the Saints. You don't have a team with a winning record in your division, which is a catastrophe. And that's just bad football. I will give credit where credit's due with the Falcons. Shout out AJ Terrell, man. I hate to say it. Clemson guy was really upset when we drafted him.
Westlake product.
I didn't know he was from Texas. I didn't know that. Interesting. Besides the point. I think the Falcons could have pushed back in the second round, still drafted in the second round. But, he's proven me wrong. He's playing great ball this year. He's, playing better than about any corner in the league, besides a few. So been cool to watch him play this year as well. So something to look forward to there.
Yeah. I guess two things that I saw. Jeff Saturday is definitely not going to get retained as the Indianapolis Colts coach. Although they played against the Cowboys. Everybody knew the Cowboys were going to smoke them. But doing winning formation when you're down 30 points, that's a little odd to me. And then another thing, Aaron Rodgers just sunning the Bears. Looked up a couple stats. This is just he's 25-5 all time against the Bears.
God.
And against all NFC North opponents, he is 57-23.
Wow.
Talk about just owning a division. Obviously, Vikings are pretty good this year. I don't know if he can beat them twice. I don't think they won the first matchup either. Right?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Maybe somebody in the comments on the video can let us know. But yeah, let's fast forward to next week. Hot take coming in, fellas. Thursday, we played the Las Vegas Raiders. Baker Mayfield's going to get us our first win in weeks.
That's hot.
Baker Mayfield's gonna have a
steaming hot.
sweatshirt on, John.
Huh?
He's gonna have a sweatshirt on the sideline with the Rams' ugly ass.
I need him to play because who we have playing right now is probably the worst quarterback the NFL has seen in 3 years. I remember distinctly against the Seahawks last weekend. Everybody went deep, and he stepped up in the pocket, and he looked like he was about to put this ball on a dime. He put it on a dime, 15 yards to the Seahawks linebacker for interception. This guy is not – he was Jared Goff's replacement in the playoffs 2020 and against the Seahawks, and he won us a game. But, man, he is just – I don't know. I guess he's just been snoozing at practice or something, taking that because he looks terrible. But, yeah, Baker Mayfield is going to get us our first – if he plays Thursday, we're going to win that football game.
No.
Brew man.
I'll tell you a game I'm excited for. I'm excited. I don't know if it's necessarily the game, but the Bills and the Jets are playing this week. Let's see what Sauce Gardner's got. It's going to be cool to see him matched up on Stephon Diggs all night. Obviously, Sauce Gardner's a great player. I'm excited to see that matchup. I think it's going to, Gardner's going to have his hands full. It'll be cool to see for sure. Don't really know much else. I hadn't really researched this topic, guys, if I'm being real with you.
Ryan, I got a little spoiler. They already played.
They already played, and Sauce shut them down. Sauce shut them down, no. But it's going to be hard. I think Stephon Diggs might be ready for him, might show the rookie thing or two. So it'll be cool to see if Sauce can still keep it up in the matchup number 2.
Brian, I got a stat for you. So obviously the Jets just played the Vikings. What do you think Justin Jefferson's stats were this week?
If you're bringing it up, probably not much.
11 targets, 7 catches, 45 yards, 1 touchdown. How would you rate Sauce Gardner's performance?
Solid.
I can respect that.
It's not, 7 catches, not great, but being able to keep them 45 yards
is that's 6 yards a catch. That's pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing, Ryan, I want to say real quick. Also, the last time Sauce and Stephon matched up, Stephon had 5 receptions for 93 yards, but his first reception was 42 yards. So after that first reception, they gave Sauce 50. So, yeah.
Word.
Coach P, you got anything else?
Yeah, I touched on Lamar earlier, and they're playing the Steelers this weekend. Steelers don't look as bad as they did first few weeks of the season. They also just got done playing the Falcons, who don't look as good as any other team in the league. Pains me to say that. But yeah, without Lamar playing, Steelers probably going to win this game because their defense is pretty solid still. And it's going to hurt the Ravens. I mean, they're in the middle of chasing, trying to do that. It's not looking favorable for them without Lamar moving forward in the next 3 weeks. I'm excited to see the Dolphins and Chargers match up. I kind of feel bad for the Chargers defense because Tyreek and Jalen Waddle probably going to torch them, but at the same time, Justin Herbert could easily torch the Dolphins defense if he wanted to. So I think that might be a shootout. Thank God it's a Falcons bye week. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Steelers, to add to that, Steelers put the ball in the hands of their playmakers. Should beat the Ravens. You gotta get Pickens involved. He's been really good for the Steelers, except for last weekend. He didn't get really any receptions, and he was pretty pissed off about that. So yeah, what's up, Coach B?
One thing I want to say about the Steelers. One last thing. Last week, yeah, they didn't really give the ball to Pickens that much because Najee Harris. I don't know if this is a testament to him playing out of his mind like he had finally, or testament to us not being able to tackle, or both. Dude had 80 yards on us on the ground, which, I mean, that's not great, but 40 of them were after first contact. Could not bring him down. He dribbled a couple of our players, had their heads bouncing off the ground.
Yeah, that was like Derrick Henry-esque. That was some Alabama running back type stuff.
It was
yeah. Yeah, so let's move on to Kelv.
Yeah. I got a hot take.
Uh-oh.
Buccaneers, 49ers. I think Brock Purdy outplays Tom Brady. I just think, I don't know how much of a hot take that is, but I mean, he's Mr. Irrelevant. Nobody gave him a chance. So, I mean, I think the 49ers just have better, I won't necessarily say they have better weapons, but they're just playing better than the Buccaneers. I don't know why the Buccaneers just can't get it rolling on offense. But the running game will help Brock Purdy a little bit. And then, of course, you got Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, tons of weapons. So, yeah, I think Brock Purdy and the 49ers outplay Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. I think they get it done.
Davo.
Adding on to the Steelers, here's a stat from the Steelers. The Steelers finish 500 or better. They've done that for the past 15 straight seasons. Mike Tomlin just does not finish under 500 every season. And I think it's going to start with them beating the Ravens this week. Also, just give me the Giants over the Eagles for the hell of it. You know what I'm saying? Just to make things interesting in that division. I'm hoping we see a better Chargers this week. And, and I also think the Jets will beat the Bills for the second time this week. I think they're going to walk in their trap and take over their trap.
James.
Yeah, I got a couple takes here. This isn't really going to be a close game, but Cowboys-Texans, hot take. I think Cowboys solidify themselves as the top dog in the NFC with this game. I think Tony Pollard and Zeke Elliott, best 1-2 punch in the league. Both of them have been going off the last 2 weeks, and they're going to do the same thing against a Houston Texans team that's just trying to rebuild. And I think the only reason that the Cowboys are going to solidify themselves is that Dak is finally going to realize to throw the ball to CeeDee Lamb, like I've been harping on the past 2 weeks, because when he finds CeeDee Lamb, that offense cannot be stopped. And it gives the defense so much momentum that they're going to stop everybody. So I think Cowboys solidify themselves this week. Another hot take. Fellas, the Lions are beating the Vikings this week at home.
Oh, God.
Kirk and company minus Jay Jettis has sputtered. Sputtered. Maybe they find it this weekend, but I don't think so, guys. I mean, Lions are red hot. Jamal Williams is going to solidify himself as running back one, and they're going to move away from the stupid-ass running back committee when he's clearly the best option they have. Swift is not an option anymore. I think they got to cut him next year or try to trade him for a pick or something because I think Jamal Williams is that guy for him. And Swift he's got the best running back coach in the NFL coaching him, Deuce Staley, South Carolina graduate, and he can't even get him going. Can't even get him going. But I think Jared Goff, Jameson Williams, St. Brown, they feast on the secondary. I just got a good feeling about the Lions this week, fellas. Real good feeling.
Yeah, I mean, if Lions want to come do another deal with us, we'll gladly take Swift. Worst rushing offense in the league, but
Cam well this week.
Yeah, he did all right, but I think it's just because Welford is just so not good that Cam just had to step it up a little bit. He had to. Ryan, Ryan talk a little bit.
Yep.
Wait, I got a question. I think we skipped over this for college football. What are expectations for Dion at Colorado?
Oh my God,
pretty good,
brother.
I mean, when you have 200 people in the transfer, when you have 200 people contacting you within the first, 6 hours.
That's
and
crazy.
They're all very good.
Yeah, he had one of their first 5-star recruits, and what was it?
They've only had 4 or 5 stars in the history of Colorado football.
Yeah, and he just got one less than 24 hours after arriving. Had a team meeting and
crazy
5-star out of his hat.
I gotta say something. I gotta get something on my chest here, and it's one word for Deion Sanders right now: tampering. Dude, I mean, it's just what he's doing, man. It's just a lot of crap. It's just not legal, man. And you gotta figure out how to set.
It's legal now.
No, it's not legal. It's not legal. He was reaching out to kids before they were in the freaking transfer portal. You gotta set.
Come find him.
It's the transfer portal right now is a great thing, and you can get good quick using it. But the transfer portal is the wild, wild west right now. You gotta get some freaking parameters with the transfer portal. That's all I gotta say.
Deion Sanders.
Here's what I'm gonna say about this. Play my theme music, man.
Dude, I'm probably gonna watch every Colorado game next year.
Look, my expectations, they get 7 wins this year. They're gonna go get the guy Jaheim Bell at tight end. He's gonna get about 1,000 receiving yards. Shadur's gonna find him. They're gonna get that Trey Sanders running back. They're gonna get every person that they want. They're gonna get the 5-star offensive tackle Caden Proctor, who was formerly committed to Iowa and decommitted a couple of weeks ago. Decommitted, but he's just gonna go sign his letter to Colorado. They're going to get 7 wins this year.
Coming.
And then win the Pac-12 next year.
Hot take incoming. There's a top edge rusher uncommitted. It's from California. Inland Empire to be exact. Went to St. John Bosco. Don't be surprised if Deion finds him. And another guy. 5. Talking Big Cinco.
Whoa!
Don't be surprised. He might be Shadur's backup.
It's not the best quarterback in the transfer portal, apparently, according to 247 Sports. So,
but he's number 2. DJ is the number 2 prospect in the transfer portal.
And Devin Leary's ahead of him.
Fellas, Deion's got to have an inside guy with 247 Sports because he literally has commented on under every single Instagram post that 247 Sports is released. And he says, "Come find me."
I wonder if he's commenting under DJ's.
Probably not. Because he wants his son to start.
I know he commented under Jaheim Bell's.
He probably commented under Kobe Pace's.
Probably.
I said it last week. Who would not want to play for Deion Sanders?
Nobody.
That's it, though. That's the thing.
I would love to.
All this other stuff has to come. All this other stuff has to connect with Deion.
The Colorado fans are in his comments.
Like
Mm.
I didn't
And
play.
Ohio State.
Sanders got me wanting to try to walk on at Colorado.
Can let me read off their schedule for next season, and let's just kind of give. I know their roster's nowhere near complete, but let's just maybe take a guess at their record. First game of the season, huge test at TCU.
L.
TCU wins.
I'm calling it here.
After that, it's Nebraska. Should
L.
be Nebraska. Colorado State, Arizona State, Arizona, Oregon State, Stanford. Now this is where it gets tough.
They're 8-0 right now.
USC,
L.
Oregon. Wait, at Oregon, at UCLA, at Utah, at Washington State.
Okay, they have a hard schedule.
Okay, so they're 8. They're 8-4, 9-3.
I'm saying 7-5.
7-5.
I think 7-5
Yeah.
is
That's the floor.
They got a
7-5.
tough schedule.
Give me 8-4.
8-4. I mean, TCU is a toss-up. Oregon State, USC, Oregon, UCLA, Utah, and Washington State are all tough games.
Yes.
They ain't
Yeah.
beat Caleb Williams.
They should
Hey.
beat Stanford,
Yeah,
Arizona,
this is Coach
Arizona
Prime.
State, Colorado State.
Colorado might end up having a top 10 defense in the country, though.
Oh, they might. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna be nasty.
I mean, shout out
Like-
Coach Prime. Maybe we tell them we're a Colorado-based podcast. Get them on. They reach out to-
Yeah, I mean, if anybody, hey, to all our listeners out there, if you are in the transfer portal and Prime's reached out to you, hit us up. We'll get you on. We'll talk about it.
We'll get him on with you.
I mean, yeah, if you can get Prime on, that'd be cool.
We'll give him
We'll
5
play
minutes
his theme
to do
music
it.
and everything.
Yeah.
My
We'll give him 5
my
minutes
only
to do
thing
it.
about Colorado is, or Dion is, now we're gonna see if he can actually coach. Because
You don't.
I
need
mean,
a
he can
coach.
get all this. Oh no, he can get all this talent, but
He
like,
doesn't need a coach.
I mean, dude, if he gets all this talent, I mean, does USC not have the same talent? You're gonna have to out scheme people and actually have a game plan to beat these people. I mean, to beat these teams. Like, you're not gonna walk into Utah
Mm.
and like out talent. I mean, you can have more talent than Utah. USC has more talent than Utah. But who has the better scheme and who's more physical and who's ready to play? Utah. I mean, if Cam Rising comes back, Dalton Kincaid comes back, I mean, they can get embarrassed at Utah. A lot of teams get embarrassed at Utah. So I mean, I'm excited to see if Dion can actually coach, because I mean, he was just out talenting everybody in the FCS, but now everybody, like, imagine him taking all these guys to Georgia. You think that, or playing at Georgia, that doesn't matter. Georgia has just as much talent as you. Now, can you outcoach Kirby Smart? Can you outcoach Nick Saban?
Here's the thing, though. He just snagged Kent State's head coach's offensive coordinator. He's about to hire Mike Zimmer as his defensive coordinator. He just got Willie Taggart. He's about to get FAMU's coach, who's probably the best HBCU coach before Dion got there. And he one of the best of all time, Willie Simmons. I mean, that staff is going to be loaded.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's going to be a good staff, but at the end of the day, you still have to have that scheme and I mean, I don't want this team to be like who was that Eagles team, the 2011 Eagles, where they were calling them the Dream Team. They had like Michael Vick, Nnamdi Asomugha, whoever else they had on that team that everybody thought was going to the Super Bowl, and then they sucked. You got a talent, but we know Nick Saban's scheme. We know Kirby Smart's scheme. We know Ryan Day's scheme. We know Jim Harbaugh's scheme. Can you beat that scheme? You had a talent, cool, sure. USC has had talent for 15 years. I mean, Texas has had talent for 15 years, and they still suck.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, guys. Here's another point. Where's this money coming from? More money, more problem. Like,
Don't make it.
seems a lot of pay to a lot of players, to a lot of coaches, to a lot of administrative staff. They don't have the NIL like Nebraska does or Georgia does.
They're getting it.
They're gonna have to get it. So that means Colorado fans, I'm talking to you right now. If you want this thing to work, you better start throwing some NIL money, like me and Ryan Brewer to the Garnet Trust. That's
Tell him, James.
Yeah,
Hit me
but
up.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. They're already doing that, and they literally just changed the academic processes and standards for prime. They don't have at CU Boulder. They don't have necessarily the like general studies kind of majors. Well, that just changed today. So if you were applying as a freshman to CU Boulder, you can now get into some of these general studies type majors, and you're transferred. And if you decide to transfer, just even as a regular student now, your credits will be transferring. So you're going to get more money. You're going to have more people come because of prime. You're going to get more dollars. I mean, look at Jackson State. Look how much money they brought in. And SWAC. Who is SWAC, Who is SWAC now?
Who is SWAC, man? Now, do you guys think this would be a trend where teams start hiring the name as the head coach instead of like you said, like, okay, Colorado could have hired Kent State's head coach, but obviously they went and got Dion. What if, like, I don't know, like Arizona goes out and hires Chad Ochocinco? Why when people flock to Arizona to go play on the Chad Ochocinco? Do you guys think like teams are actually going to start just hiring names more than coaches?
I think it depends on how this goes. If this blows up in Colorado's face and they get popped with recruiting violations, it's not. But if Colorado wins the national championship in 2 years, then maybe. The only thing is Dion had head coaching experience.
Yeah.
I know it was at Jackson State, but I think it would have to be somebody like Dion who had at least somewhat head coaching experience, like UAB with Trent Dilfer. He had head coaching. He was in high school, but he had head coaching experience. I don't think there's going to be a team that hires somebody just because of the name, but I think it would definitely help the name if they have at least some bit of head coaching experience.
I know Eddie George is at Tennessee State right now. I know he's nowhere near as big. His name is Dion, but
Yeah,
he's got some really good players to go to him too. It's not necessarily talked about, but they've definitely got some studs over there too. Yeah. Well, I think that wraps it up, fellas, right nicely, talking about prime time. That concludes our episode for tonight. Make sure to follow us on all our socials. We'll be posting some clips, different polls on Twitter, things like that. Stay tuned for next week. We're going to try to get some special guests here in the coming weeks. And play our theme music. See y'all next week.